Oh dear. Barcelona, of course, lost against Las Palmas a couple of weeks ago. Thought maybe just a blip. This is not a blip. This is a real problem for Hansi Flick because yesterday they lost at home against Leganés. First time ever Leganés have got a victory in Catalonia against Barcelona. Frustrating, the front page of Sport, and goodness me, is it all to play for now. Remember, Saturday it is Barcelona against Atletico Madrid at Montjuic. That is a game, by the way, that is live on ESPN+. Mario Nadem is still with us because I want to talk to them about Lamine Yamal a little bit later on. But we welcome in Alex Kirkland as well, who is based in Spain, of course. Alex, 24 hours for the post-mortem from another defeat for Barcelona. Who's getting the blame?
Yeah, it's definitely panic stations now, no question, because of all the games, of all the points they've dropped, the games they've lost, the games they've drawn, this one against Leganés, the side who are battling relegation. As you said, the first time that Leganés have ever won away at Barcelona. This has really set the alarm bells ringing. Hansi Flick, maybe it's better for him that he wasn't on the touchline. Maybe it's helpful for him that he wasn't quite so directly kind of in the spotlight for this one. Of course, it was his number 2 who was there because Flick is serving this 2-game ban after his red card against Betis. A huge game, a game that's much bigger now than it looked like being just a few weeks ago against Atletico Madrid, because Atleti not long ago, it was sort of double digits, the number of points they were off the top. Now, all of a sudden, with Barca having dropped, 13 points in the last 6 games, they're level at the top. And so right here, of course, it's much too early to be anything like a title decider, but it's a huge game against 2 teams tied for points at the top of the table, and Barca couldn't really be going into it in worse shape. And Atletico Madrid's, their form is the complete opposite. They've won every single game, I think, going back to the start of November now. So yeah, it's a real stark contrast between those 2 teams.
Alex, obviously Hansi Flick could do no wrong when he came in. What's been interesting with regards to our post-match analysis over recent games is questioning his substitutions. We saw it against Betis. He brought off Rafinha, Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski. We saw yesterday he brought off Lewandowski just past the hour mark. And I know he was having a bad game by his standards, but the way that Leganés were playing, and this was the suggestion that both Luis Garcia and Craig Burley were mentioning, you need someone like Lewandowski who can get you a goal out of nothing, as opposed to someone like Torres who needs more space to create.
Yeah, it's a recognition and maybe an acceptance that Lewandowski can't play every week. He basically does play every week, but they can't really leave him out. And so if you're going to play him every week, well, he can't play 90 minutes. And it's quite a statement, I think. Like you say, in a game where you need a goal, you're desperate for a goal in a game that you must win, you've got to take off your main goal threat. I think it says a lot about where he is physically. And it says a lot about this Barcelona squad, because they are, over-reliant on a number of these players in key positions. And the fact that Flick has been taking off, not just Lewandowski, but we've seen in recent weeks with Olmo coming off at times and Pedri coming off at times and Rafinha as well, it's because these players have been overplayed since the start of the season because they're so important to the team. And yeah, Lewandowski is sort of the most eye-catching example of that. But we've seen it with quite a few of these important players over the last few weeks, and it's because they're playing too much because they're just so important to this team. And physically, that's starting to take its toll as well.
Do you agree, Ali? We looked at that starting 11 yesterday. Dani Olmo, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski against Leganés. These are, they are stacked. They're going to be backs against the wall. First half was better. Second half, they look clueless.
Yeah, and in the specific case of Lewandowski, I would say that if you start looking at hints, there have been some messages being sent by Hansi Flick. Go back to the game against Mallorca, in which Lewandowski did not start. Now Hansi Flick said, look, we need to give him a rest. We need to give him a break. It's a guy that can't play every game. Well, Barcelona went on to win that match 5-1. And there was some conversation about, well, Lewandowski sat on the bench all 90 minutes and we scored 5 goals away from home. Does that mean that maybe, just maybe, if we need goals, it doesn't mean that we have to depend on Robert Lewandowski? Now, that's speculation from us on the outside and from fans on the outside. I imagine that would not have been the conversation for Hansi Flick and his staff. But maybe it was. Because when you need a goal and you are Barcelona and you're looking for players that guarantee you a goal or get you close to a goal, Lewandowski is at the top of that list, especially when you have a team that has so many players behind the ball and you're going to need a presence,
as we saw yesterday,
inside the 18-yard box. So the game yesterday called for a different type of substitution and a different type of decision from Hansi Flick. It's also a game in which you're not going to need Lewandowski to run. to running behind to go find spaces no, because there was no space. You need the little diagonal movement. You need the little movement inside the 18-yard box because there's service coming in. And Barcelona just don't have any other player that can do that consistently. So in that regard, the substitution, specifically Lewandowski, doesn't make any sense.
And the two things that we're talking about here, the Lewandowski thing and the Yamal thing, absolutely is a dereliction of duty on the coach's part.
Oh, really?
You've got a young... We're sitting here talking about... not arguing, but we're talking about, he's taking him off because he needs a rest, blah, blah, blah. Absolute and utter garbage. You need a goal. So when you need a goal, you don't take your goal scorer off. You can change what's around your goal scorer that's going to create more and get him in positions where he can score. You don't take him off.
Right.
But then you've got your young superstar who you rested because he needs a rest, who picks up an injury, and then you don't take him off. I mean, it's a complete dereliction of duty. He should have been straight off as soon as they saw him hobbling around, because the kid's not going to make the decision for you. He's too young, he's too inexperienced, he wants to play, he wants to do well. Get him off, use your experience. You're supposed to be Barcelona coach, and you can't see these things. I mean, seriously, I couldn't believe the two things. You keep him on, and to take your goal scorer off, and then somehow have this been talked about as giving him a rest. Give me a rest.
Mario, I wanted more on that, because we were talking about this before the show. Because I'm saying, why didn't Lamine Yamal just tell the coaching staff that he couldn't continue? And you're like, no, he's young. He's not going to say that.
Yeah, you're never going to do that, because I totally, what Stevie said was right. Because, okay, you cannot compare yourself to a big talent like him. But, okay, when I was 19, you don't think, I get a kick, I want to play on. Sometimes you cannot make that decision because you don't want to make that decision. Because, okay, when the team is not performing well, right, and this kid is 17 years old, what do you think is going in his brain? He's going to think from himself, I am the man that can change things around. I'm the talented player. I'm going to make things happen. So he's not going to come off. So then it comes down to the coach to protect him, in the sense of, like, if we don't look after him, he's going to do some stupidity. So that's the only thing you can do. But you cannot ask Lamine to ask him, like, you make the decisions and you come off. He's not going to come off. Don't ever put that in his head, because you're too young. If you're already that age and you don't want to play football, then you're not going to have a bright future like the way he's having it. Because that only happens to the ones that don't want to compete in the fight. And he is a player that wants to compete in the fight. So now comes the next step. The staff or the coaches have to protect him because he's too young to make that decision. Put 10 years on this kid, he makes his own decision.
Well, but very quickly, though, I don't think this is age-related. None of us wanted to come off the field, young or old.
But surely you're aware. You're aware of the long-term effects of staying on.
Yes, but you don't come off.
No. Right.
You don't come off. You know what it takes to get to that level?
Yeah, not in the middle of a game.
You're out on the field, you don't come off. No. They have to drag you off the field.
Yeah, but Nadim, I've hurt my ankle. I can't run properly.
Yeah, Dan, you're soft, though. That's the thing. I think as you listen to the people who all did actually play, I think when it comes down to it, like, from the moment you ask to come off once, people always doubt you. And I think for Lamine Yamal, he's somebody who gets all the joy from being on the field, as is the case with everybody else. You've earned the right to be there. You want to be involved in the game. Yes, you're not like 100% anymore, but you want to have impact. If a manager says you have to come off, or if senior players are saying to the manager he's struggling, you need to bring him off, then that's a different decision. You can do all that stropping on the bench afterwards. But as far as Lamine Yamal goes, he's not going to come off the pitch. If he can jog, he can have an impact. If he can get the ball to his feet, he can have an impact. And that impact for him is getting goals, it's getting assists, it's helping his Barcelona team win a game of football. So there's no chance on this earth that if you can carry on, you're never going to say, can I come off, please? Because it's the wrong attitude, and it's not the attitude that gets him into the position that he's in at this moment in time.